Here we are. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's edition of our Carvel community meeting. Today is the 8th of March of 2023. And as you can see, Nancy is not here. I'm hoping that she will join in a little bit. But for now, you're stuck with me as your MC today. If you are watching this as a recording, we encourage you to come and join us live every second and fourth week, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can come, we'll talk about it. Well, if you come here, we can discuss about things and we can provide us feedback live and ask questions and all of those good things. And if you need any help with the tool and you're stuck, you can come here and just ask us and we will be more than happy to help you. So for y'all that are here today, if you have anything that you'd like to discuss, please add it to the discussion topics on our meeting. And let me share my screen. I do have our community meeting here. There we go. I hope y'all can see the community meeting. HackMD Doc. So if you have anything that you'd like to discuss, please add the topics to the discussion topics here, and we'll try and get to there. And yeah, so I think that's more or less it. So we would like to ask you, if you, when you're in our meeting and you're interacting with the community, to try to follow and abide by our code of conduct. And I think that's it for our introduction. I think I missed something, but I'm quite sure Nancy is not gonna chastise me a lot for that. So let's see. So we do have our Carvel channel on our Kubernetes. Like, if you have any question and if you're not able to come to this meeting, just you can go there and talk to us. We are pretty responsive there, or at least we try to be. And we also have our Twitter handle. Some people reached out to us using Twitter. So if you want to, there we go. All right. So for everybody that is joining the meeting today, you can add, please, your name on the attendees list so we can have an idea of who's here. I see that some people already signed in. That's awesome. All right. So,
hey, Joelle, you want me to take over?
Oh, do you want to take over?
Yeah,
Please.
so sorry. My internet was not cooperating. I couldn't figure anything out. I finally got it all working and I don't have Slack on my phone. So anyways, I'm here.
Do you want to share?
Joelle. Share my screen? Yeah, I'll share my screen.
You want to share? Okay, I'll stop sharing that. Nope, nope. There we go. Go for it, Nancy.
Thank you for taking over. You're the best. All right. So, as Joelle mentioned, put your name in the attendees list if you're here. It is optional. Helps us keep track of those that are at our meeting, and we can see who from outside of VMware is attending the community meeting. Moving on to announcements. So for those that have seen the last few weeks, we've been trying to get the community's input on what our project roadmap looks like. And if you're not familiar with what the term roadmap is, it just kind of means like what does it look like, and then for the next year, what the team is going to be actively working on to put into development for the different tools, like different feature requests, things like that. So we sent out this survey asking for, what are the top issues that have been living in any of the different tools. And out of those top issues, what is the number one thing, that you want us to work on? So after a couple of surveys, both surveys ended up getting between 21 and 24 responses. So we had a really good turnout, which is super exciting. And the 4 issues that top them all, the latest survey is the one that's kind of listed as Carvel overall. it's the signature and SLSA attestation for Carvel artifacts. Thomas, thank you so much for putting this issue in there. It seems to be quite popular across the community, and as well as folks within VMware as well. Then we have image package, which is ability to extract images from bundles into a registry, which had 4 votes. And then we had YTT, which is support emitting comments and resulting YAML, and kapp-controller with 3 votes, add ability to fetch resources from the cluster. So we had about 9 different choices. These are the top 4. I just wanted to mention some that folks input on their own whenever we said, if none of these resonate, what was something that we missed that you would like to see? So these are the honorable mentions. So I'm sure you're curious, what are the next steps for this? So right now, what we're going to be doing is going over the scope of all of these and kind of get a more solid plan in place as to when we can put each one into priority based on what the team is already working on, making sure we have all the resources to do that, put together some proposals, all that fun stuff. And once we have more solid information on when to expect these and they're in our roadmap and with a clear, I guess, length of time. So like, is it coming in Q3 or is it, coming, when is all this? We will let you know. And hopefully those that said that they are interested in contributing will participate and help us work on these tools. So it'd be really cool to see, to have some of these be collaborated on between maintainers and contributors from outside of VMware. Any questions on that? No, okay. So content, since we last met, we had a choose your own adventure and YTT won. So thank you to everyone who watched and voted. It was, super exciting to see YTT get that sort of recognition in what it can do to help you. So if you haven't seen that choose your own adventure, be sure to go check it out. What it is it's Whitney Lee and this guy Victor, who are going through the CNCF roadmap and kind of, doing step-by-step on how they all work together and which one, as you can imagine, different tools in the CNCF landscape are kind of do this similar thing. So they're trying to see like, okay, which one out of these things that are similar might be better for the next step. So I encourage you to go watch that, and then the other episodes that are in that series. And then I believe just a few days ago, Whitney Lee posted this quick little video of what is K-Build. It's like, a minute long, if not less. Just gives you a high level overview of what K-Build does. And I expect to see more videos like this for all the tools. Just kind of quick little sound bites, little snack bites of what the tools do. And then upcoming, we have Cora, Iberclade and Lee Capilli. They're working on a blog on a deep dive on Carvel's K-Build, followed by a video series. So stay tuned for that. And then we have Carvel at KubeCon. So we have a few things going on at KubeCon in Amsterdam. And, it's our first time being a CNCF Sandbox project, having our project booth in the project pavilion. And we are also taking advantage of having an in-person project meeting, which is linked out here. It's in the schedule. So if you're attending KubeCon and you want to come meet some of the maintainers and people that work on it, meet me. We'll have a project meeting on Tuesday, April 18th at 2:30 p.m. And this is basically kind of like an in-person community meeting. And, we can engage, go over topics, just similar to what we do here on Zoom. and meet people in person, answer questions, all sorts of fun stuff at this time. So hopefully we'll get to see you there. And then the project booth at the project pavilion. So we have the full-time slots. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Wednesday, 10:30 to 5:30 on Thursday, and then 10:30 to 2:30 on Friday. So we'll have some maintainers there. We'll have people from the community also representing Carvel be there to answer questions. And if you're interested in helping out with the booth, we would love the help. So, we have these 2-hour shifts available. And it's just, you kind of answer questions, you talk about what the tools do. If at any point you don't know the answer to a question, it's totally fine. And you can just say like, oh, I don't know that, but I'll make sure, I'll get the answer for you, or maybe direct them to the website or something like that. But we would love some members of the community to help out here. We're just super excited to have our first debut here at this project booth. Any questions on that or the content before we move forward? Nope. Okay. All right, we have releases. Next, CAP 0.55. Anyone here to talk about that?
Yep, I can talk about that. So we have a couple of exciting things in this release of CAP. So to start with, we have made some changes on how CAP deals with the status field while basically redeploying, like diffing. So earlier we just used to copy everything from the existing resource, like the whole status, and then like copy it and add it to the new resource so that there would be no diff over there. But that was causing issues in scenarios where there would be some changes in how the status looks like, some changes in the structure of status. So now we have changed this behavior, and basically the status will now comes under diff against last applied field exclusion rules. So it'll be completely excluded while checking if the last applied resource is a valid one or not. So it won't come up in the diff unless there are some other changes in the resource. And we have also, like, in a way, updated how CAP shows the errors produced by kapp-controller app CRs and package installs and package repositories as well, I think. So right now, in most of the scenarios, the actual error message goes into useful error message field. So if that is available, we try to show it as part of the actual error when CAP is being used to deploy those resources. There is a small performance enhancement as well. So when CAP is used to create a new app, at that time we don't list labeled resources because the app is just created. So there's no chance that there would be resources present with that label. So we are removing those calls. Also, there was an issue where I think we have talked about it in a couple of community meetings before, that when the number of characters in a CAP app name are more than 63, it fails because it's used as a label key in app changes. So that is now fixed. And we are also garbage collecting app changes when an app is not successfully deleted. So early what happens is when we are trying to delete a cap app, we delete all the app changes as well. But in case the deletion fails, then the delete changes remain over there. So now we are also garbage collecting in those scenarios when an issue occurs during delete. So yeah, that I guess covers most of the major changes in this release.
All right. Thank you, Praveen. Any questions on that release?
I have one quick question. Is the label change that you mentioned, is that a breaking change?
In a way, yes. So breaking change for app changes. So for deployments, for example, if you have an app deployed via an old version of CAP and you are trying to deploy it again with a new version, for existing apps, there are actually no breaking changes, even for app changes. What we have tried to do is introduce it in a phase. So for this phase, when a new app is getting created and the number of characters are more than 63, only in that scenario, we don't add the old label. Like old label as in the one which with the app name itself. But if there are less than 63 characters, then we add both the old label and a new label. So later on, we can actually switch to the new label itself and get rid of the old label.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I think if anyone is relying on that label, the release notes are not like super clear that it's changing. So it might be worth even just adding a note to the release notes or something. Just because I think that's a
Yeah.
change in expected behavior. If you were
Okay.
relying on that old label, which probably shouldn't, but there's always somebody that relies on things that they shouldn't, right?
Yep, that makes sense. I will add those to release notes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Neil, for pointing that out. Any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on to status updates. Already went over project roadmap plans, so moving to backlog. So for K-control stuff, who can speak on that?
Yeah, I've been working on that task. I submitted a pull request and now it's in review, so I'm addressing the comments there. This is about when we add a repository to a cluster, we can create the namespace as part of the same command rather than having to create the namespace as a separate command.
All right. And are you working with anybody directly on this? Looks like Dimitri chimed in and assume we can.
Yeah, it also Sumik helped me through, got me through the code base at the beginning. So that was really helpful.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool to see that you're working on this. Anybody have any questions or comments on this?
Just that Somik is off for a couple of days. He'll be back next Monday, Tuesday. So Thomas, hang in there. If there is any review required, to happen soon.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Okay, moving on to discussion topics. UX design help is having an empty value for the target cluster reasonable.
So this help is from me. We have a first-time contributor, Wolfdale. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So they would like it so that when you deploy a kapp-controller app, you have two choices. You can deploy it into the cluster that you are currently on, or you can provide a kube-config and it can go into any cluster that you have access to. But getting visibility of that is quite challenging. You have to basically go look at the spec for your app to see where is it deployed into which cluster. And so the suggestion here is to provide another column that when you call kubectl get apps, that you will be able to see which cluster it is deployed to. I think there has been a couple of comments down below, also from our good friend, oh my gosh, Mr. Voorhees. So I think it's mostly a UX change. So the pull request that they have created, because we currently do not expose in any way the name of your cluster in the app spec, like by default, you're just on whatever cluster you're deploying to. We don't expose that. So the workaround that they have currently in the pull request is to leave it empty, or maybe have a word like this or local or something to describe the current cluster, and then have the full name of any external clusters you have selected in your app CR. So if you look at that little description box, we have the current flow. So we can do kget app. You obviously cannot see which cluster is deployed to, but when you do -o wide, you'll see a new target cluster column. And you can see that for apps where you're on this cluster, it's empty. So let me grab the annotate. So like right here, it's empty. And then for external ones where you can get that information, we provide it. So this was mostly a request to see if anyone on the call had any like concerns with an empty value or like a keyword such as like this. Or if like this user experience is so bad that we would really want to go and expose what the current cluster is, which would be a much more complicated change set because we currently don't do that. So we'd have to introduce a new feature to expose the current cluster name such that we can actually provide it to this column. Hopefully that's clear.
Any particular reason for it not to be current instead of empty?
When you say current, you mean like the word current?
Yeah.
No. No
I'm just
particular
asking
reason.
because like I was thinking like local, when I hear local, I assume it's in my machine. And like, how can you say that you will like, how can you express that this is running in a cluster that's not like local on there, but you're targeting, right? And the word current popped up and it feels okay. Like, to be fair, if I see an empty space there, like I don't know like what to think about. Like my first reaction is this not in any cluster? Just like my gut feeling out of the bat. So
Yeah, I was thinking without the cluster name there, I might think that perhaps it's still synchronizing, and then at some point it will appear something. But also finding a good name, yeah, not an easy choice. Like something that you wouldn't use for a cluster name, I guess.
like what is that? Like what is the name of the cluster that we add when we are talking to like external clusters? Because like what I'm seeing there, is that like the name of the kube config file or something like that? Because the target cluster there. It's a little bit strange, the name.
Yeah, we don't provide a name, you just provide your kube config. So it would be the name of your kube config, and or you could, I guess, somehow parse it out. But I think in the current pull request, I can't remember how exactly that looks. But yeah, we don't explicitly ask for a name, we just grab it from the kube config.
Yep.
The thing is, like, I do believe that kube-config does have a key, right, on it, but you'd have to parse it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have like a strong opinion here, like one way or another. Personally, I'd prefer to see something that doesn't say kube-config or something like, what, that's not the name of the kube-config file there. Because in that case, you'd have to have like a meaningful name on the kube-config file. And if I call it bananas and I'm connecting to prod2, it just becomes weird, right? So you need to be very, like, you need to know that that name that you're putting to that file is going to be shown later in a different place. But yeah, as I'm saying this, I'm convincing myself that it shouldn't be the name of the file, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, you should find out what's the name of the cluster.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you all for your input. I will relay it on the pull request. I think it's fairly aligned with what I was thinking, so it's good to know. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Neil, for bringing that up and for everyone's input. So the next topic of discussion was update of description in Carvel Slack channel. I just updated
Oh yeah,
it.
that's me. Okay, nice. Yeah, I noticed like by accident earlier, and yeah. Nice.
Yeah, whenever I saw that, I was like, huh, what does it actually say? Because I haven't, checked it in God knows how long. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I figured was it because it only said, I think it was like YTT, K-build, and cap, and KWT is what it was listed as the tools, and then like nothing else. Was there anything else you think that was missing in that description?
No, just it was pointing to the old K14S websites. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you. And any other topics that people want to bring up? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining today. And thank you, Joelle, for being today's host in the beginning. And thank you for having my back. And for those that are watching from home, I encourage you to come join us live. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It's a good way for you to come and meet the maintainers, bring up discussion topics, ask questions, or just listen in. We would love to have you join us. And with that, have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are. Thanks.